Alright, so Dan's just about got the plumbing all finished on StreetSpeed C8. Could you explain a little bit what's what?
Well, these are the water lines for the ice tank. They run from the back all the way to the front. The ice tank's mounted up front here, next to the methanol tank. And the methanol lines are running to the back to the front line. That's the pump, feed line, and then the feed line to the motor.
Nice. Of course, as always, Dan did a super clean install, makes it look totally professional, then just slap it all in there.
Thank you, Sean.
No problem, Dan.
Alright, that's enough for today. Don't forget my light.
Alright.
I've lost that a few times.
Alright, well, you have a good day, Dan. Looks like we got an old pro on our hands. It's like you've done this a time or two.
A couple times.
Hey, do you work here?
Part-time.
Oh, part-time.
I'm just here for 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to stand around. Make sure Steven's doing his job.
Keep him in line. Alright, so today's the day. We finally got everything finished up. You can see we finished running all the water lines, guys. They run all the way underneath the car to the front. Let me show you what they look like. Come on. We did our own ice tank. As you can see, it has its own water pump inside. It comes on with the key on. For those of you that don't really understand how an air-to-water intercooler works, it's sort of like a big radiator, just with water that runs through it. So as the car is idling and driving around town, water is constantly flowing through the intercooler to help intake air temps go down. Now we put a big lid on it like that, so if we're ever going to the drag strip or if the customer's out, you know, roll racing and wants to turn the boost up a lot, you can just drain. We have a drain on the bottom of it. You can put straight ice in it and keep intake air temps, you know, below 50 degrees. You know, driving around town, again, we'll see how efficient this intercooler is here in a couple hours, but that is finished up, and that was the last of it. And also, from last time that y'all did not see, we added all the DEI turbo blankets. We did black. Obviously, I think it looks a lot better black. We also added the DEI heat shield on the downpipe to keep all the heat away from the hatch. As you can see, guys, just for temporary purposes, I have this going into a water bottle. For when we dyno it, I want to see what kind of see how much oil it pushes, so that in the future when this is done, we're going to design our own breather / catch can for the C8. So anyone that does a boosted application in the future, whether it's supercharged or turbocharged, we'll have our own breather setup ready to go for your engine to help keep it blowing front seals and rear seals and everything else under high boosted applications. I want to give a big thanks to DEI for hooking us up with all the material that they did with the blankets and the covers as well as the wrap. Man, I talked to them a couple weeks ago about this project, and they were, I mean, every time we had a question or needed something, they responded right away and gave us the products that we need, and I think it turned out phenomenal. There might be a few things we change here and there in the future, but as it sits right now, it looks beautiful.
gonna make a full pull?
I'm up. I went to 5,300 last time. I'm gonna go to like maybe 6,000.
All right.
C8. This is our prototype twin turbo kit for the new 2020 C8. We did have the luxury of spending some time on the dyno with it Friday. We didn't spend much time because it was late Friday when we got everything finished up. We were able to make, I think, 4, maybe 5 dyno pulls total. And I did test drive the vehicle home just to put some miles on it to check temperatures like coolant temp, oil temps, stuff like that. It's like 103 degree day today, so I thought it was the perfect day to go out and test drive it some more, make little burst pulls, just to check temperatures again, as well as check air, fuel, and everything, make sure everything's somewhat safe. I know a lot of people have been asking about the ECM in this car, and the factory GM ECM is still locked, so everyone knows. This does have our prototype twin turbo kit on it, and essentially what we're doing is we're manipulating some of the factory sensors to make it read happy and to let the car do what it did on the dyno, which you'll see the dyno graph, I'm sure, in this video, as well as see how nice this thing drives on the street. With that being said, this package is still not 100% ready to ship to a customer. We still have a lot of R&D work to do with the tuning software, and we are working on that as we speak. Hopefully in the next couple weeks we will have control over everything I want to have control over and be able to have a system that is 100% ready to go and ship to clients, that is boosted and ready to go. But again, it's all R&D, so it could be ready in a week or two. We can have it figured out, or it might take us another month. But as of right now, with what we're doing with what we have, the car runs and drives phenomenal. I'm really impressed that it really drives like a stock vehicle until you give it gas and it makes boost, and it just sounds incredible. Again, right now we can only control so much, but again, with what we're controlling, it still drives good. Now once we get the capabilities to control everything I want to control, that's when we can worry about turning it up and making crazy power and stuff. Again, with that being said, the numbers we made on the dyno, I was super satisfied with. Because it, again, with the tuning that we're doing, the air, fuel, and timing, everything was nice and safe. The stock pistons in these motors are not the strongest. It's just like the LT1 stuff. So the horsepower we made on the dyno is about the happy slash limit of the stock pistons, right? So we kind of stopped, or I made the decision to stop on Friday once we made it the number that I wanted to make. Once we get the tuning software, a little bit more control over it, we'll probably end up building this motor to, you know, a forged piston in it, as well as the transmission. The transmission is another thing. On the dyno, surprisingly, since the turbo's a little bit more linear curve than the nitrous is, the transmission so far on the dynos seemed okay. On the street, obviously we're about to test a few pulls out now to see how it does. But as far as normal driving and shifting at, you know, 5,000 RPMs and even 6,000 RPMs, it's been okay so far. We'll know more once we make a few more pulls. Gosh, this turbo sounds so good, man.
I'm surprised how well the noise comes through that glass.
You can hear it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone says, oh gosh, the heat is gonna make your cab hot. When the AC blows nice and cold, my AC seat feels good. I don't feel any heat in the back. And again, coolant, I'm looking at, I know y'all can't see it, but I have a screen here. I'm checking coolant temps, oil temps, trainee temps, as well as intake air temps for our intercooler. So we do have an air to water intercooler on this thing. So again, it works like a radiator almost. We have our ice tank in the front with a big pump in it, and it circulates water through the intercooler core in the back and back to the front. This particular car does not have a heat exchanger on it. We just wanted to get this kit done and tested as far as the actual turbo kit itself. Again, our prototype kit, as you would. Our final kit definitely will have, if not one, probably 2 heat exchangers in it for guys that are driving around every day, and then making those 50 to 150 blasts back to back to keep the intake air temps down. But even without a heat exchanger, our intake air temps, I drove this thing home Friday for over an hour, and I want to say intake air temps got to like 135. And again, we're in Houston, Texas, where it is over 100 degrees out. Right now we just made a couple little baby pulls, and intake air temps I'm looking right now are 138 degrees. So again, not bad at all. And it'll only get better if we add a heat exchanger to it. And obviously we have room in the front if we wanted to add ice to it, like if we're at a drag strip or at a roll race event or a half-mile event, you put ice in this thing, intake air temps will be 65 degrees or less throughout the whole pool.
Second gear, it felt like it was wanting to.
Okay, so nothing crazy.
I don't think that'd ever get old.
No. This thing is, man, unbelievable. It is so cool. Like I said, once we get the transmission to hold it where it's nice and safe to be able to make a solid 750 to 900 rear wheel horsepower, this is going to be the ultimate street car, man. And again, pretty much the best bang for your buck. You can buy a, you know, $70,000 car and dump, I don't even know, say 30, 50 grand into making a 800 to 1,000 rear wheel horsepower car. I mean, jeez, it's so awesome.
pretty lazy pull. That was up there pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm just rolling again, guys. This thing only has, I hate to say it, like 5 pounds of boost. You know, it's nothing crazy. Again, you know, I know the pistons in these things. We've been building these LT1s obviously since 2014, and the LT1 pistons just are not happy with boost. Also in the back, we don't have our breather system developed yet, so you'll see a hose sticking like right in the middle of our intake manifold. That's just letting the engine breathe into atmosphere to keep us from pushing seals and stuff like that. But again, for 5 pounds of boost and with what we're doing to manipulate the computer right now, it runs and drives so good. It's just gonna be when we try to turn it up and make real power, that's when we start finding the limits of stuff, and there's only one way to do that, is by turning the power up. So with that being said, like I said, check back for our future videos, guys, because we are gonna up the power on these things and see what breaks first and then start fixing from there, which we've already found a limit of a few things. You've seen some of our older videos, but we will continue the process and continue to build these C8s, because at the end of the day, our goal is to provide a solid 1200 horsepower package that is making a solid 1000 rear-wheel horsepower on 93 octane that anybody can hop in and drive, and you just hit a button to change from, let's say, 800 rear-wheel horsepower to 1000 to you put it on race gas or E85, and then it should make 1200 rear-wheel horsepower. But again, all the drivetrain components will have to be upgraded to hold that kind of horsepower, so it is coming. It just takes time for this R&D process, but we're working on it, and I think y'all are going to enjoy some of the content coming up. All in all, guys, this is still our prototype twin turbo kit, and again, we've been saying it a lot, the tuning is the big thing with this thing, as well as the transmission. So there will be more to come. We are working on different things. Stay with us, keep checking back for all the latest of all the C8 stuff. It'll be good for y'all to check back and check the future videos of us. Once again, you know, you have the engine that can hold it, the fuel system and the transmission, and obviously more tuning capabilities. This thing is going to be an absolute monster. So check back. We will show progress of whether there's transmission stuff we're upgrading, whether it's fuel system we're upgrading, or even more tuning software that we come up with. We will share with y'all. So check back and check back then.